In Act 2, Scene 1, we find that it is past midnight. Duncan is asleep while Banquo and his son Fleance unexpectedly meet Macbeth and find that he too is still awake. Banquo has some overambitious thoughts which are against his own nature and therefore he cannot sleep. He is not at peace. He walks in the courtyard up and down. Banquo gives Macbeth a diamond from Duncan and also thanks him for such an enjoyable evening and also tells him that the King Duncan was also full of praise about Lady Macbeth and Macbeth. Banquo tells him that he had dreamt of the three weird sisters, the three witches, whereas Macbeth lies to him and says that he doesn't dream of them nor think about them a bit, even a bit. And then comes the soliloquy of Macbeth, where he sees a vision of a dagger which becomes bloody eventually. And then he dismisses the vision by saying that it is the bloody business that is causing him to hallucinate. It's a figment of his own imagination. Lady Macbeth rings the bell, which is symbolic of the knell to symbolize Duncan's death. Here we find the allusions made to Hecate and Tarquin. In Act 2, Scene 2, the very important thing, the assassination of Duncan's murder takes place. Lady Macbeth also utters a soliloquy where she has suspicion or doubt whether Macbeth was able to finish the deed or not. And she was the one who had drugged the guards of King Duncan's chamber. Then there comes the sleep sequence where Macbeth talks about sleep and sleep has been personified and sleep has many several meanings and connotations as per Macbeth's speech. He's afraid, he turns brain sickly and he just can't avoid the thoughts that have obsessed his mind after his committing the murder. This scene takes place in the inner courtyard of Macbeth's castle, and Macbeth is very panic stricken and he is very disturbed by the fact that when the guards had said Amen after asking God's blessings, he couldn't say Amen and why. Then there is the reference to Neptune, the Roman god of sea, and how it would itself turn scarlet or crimson or bloody with the blood of Duncan in the hands of Macbeth while in the attempt to wash its stain off his hand. Then they hear a knocking and Lady Macbeth still has courage enough to guide and keep on encouraging Macbeth to divert his mind from all these and try to put on their nightgown to avoid people's suspicion. Act 2, Scene 3. It's important for the porter's drunken soliloquy, how the people of different professions come one by one in order. The first person being a farmer who had committed suicide in his disappointment of not having a good harvest or not earning enough through the hoarding of grains that he had. And second comes a Jesuit equivocator who had lied and deceived people all through his life but failed to win God's side and God's favor and was punished into hell. And the last one, the third one, is an English tailor who had been stealing cloth all his life and therefore enters into the hell where he can easily use his ooze, that is his iron, to press clothes and stitch them before and after for a perfect fitting. So it is so hot. Macduff and Lennox enter the scene. And all these things happen at the gate of Macbeth's castle when he is drunk and asleep, and Macduff and Lennox were knocking continuously. Macduff is the one who enters into Duncan's chamber, and he is the first one to see the horrific sight of King's dead body. He summons people to ring the bell, to summon all the inmates of the castle and make them aware of what has happened. Lady Macbeth later on pretends to swoon over such as to divert people's attention. Macbeth, on the other hand, goes to another level, to some more extent, and he pretends that it is a deed, a thing of such sorrow that he wishes he had died before Duncan. For there is no meaning in life left after the king's death. Malcolm and Donalbain are scared of their own lives and they can't trust anybody right there at that moment. They have suspicion in everybody around, and therefore Malcolm leaves for England while Donalbain for Ireland. Then in Act 2, Scene 4, we find three characters. First of all, Ross and an old man who were talking to each other, and then Macduff enters the scene. It's all about these three characters where they had witnessed certain portents and prodigies that Shakespeare uses to signify, to emphasize upon the unnatural things and to imply or to or to signify how the world of nature has deviated ominous things and vice has overruled virtue. And therefore, we find that first of all, Ross talks about the night which was more powerful than the day, or the day which was so weak that there was not enough light and it seemed as if it was night itself, though it was day by the clock. Then the old man talks about the second thing that he had witnessed, which was that on Tuesday, on the last Tuesday, he had witnessed a falcon which was killed by a normal, ordinary owl, which was killed by an ordinary owl, whose usual prey is a mouse. The third thing which Ross tells about, that is Duncan's horses, who had turned unruly, violent, and they had ate up each other, disobeying the humans, and failed to or failed no they went so wild that they went completely against the powers of humans to calm them down, in spite of being the best of their breed and known for their master or caliber and elegance. Then Macduff comes in, and Macduff informs that Macbeth has already left for Scone to be coronated, while Macduff will go to Fife and he will not attend the coronation. And Duncan's body has been taken to the place of his ancestors' tomb, that is at Comkill, while the burial ground at Comkill, where all the other predecessors of his lie, and the two sons, Malcolm and Donalbain, having already fled, the suspicion of the murder comes on them,